Hey, it's Medicosis Perfectionalis, where medicine makes perfect sense. We continue our physiology playlist. This is the last video in autonomic nervous system physiology before the review. We have talked about sympathetic and parasympathetic before. Today, let's compare between the fight-flight and rest-digest. There are many differences between sympathetic and parasympathetic. This is fight-flight, this is rest-digest. Sympathetic is thoracolumbar, parasympathetic is craniosacral. Sympathetic is run, cardio. Parasympathetic is secreto-motor. Preganglionic fibers of the sympathetic system are short, but the postganglionic are so long it's unbelievable. Parasympathetic is the exact opposite. Look at this, preganglionic, very long, and then the ganglion, and then the postganglionic fibers are so tiny it's unbelievable. Why is the preganglionic short in sympathetic but long in parasympathetic? And why is the postganglionic long in sympathetic but short in parasympathetic? I'll tell you today. Sympathetic, just think you're running from a tiger. Parasympathetic, rest and digest. You're sitting on a toilet, eating a sandwich, reading, crying, and taking a dump. What are the effects of sympathetic and parasympathetic on the genitalia? Sympathetic, shoot. Parasympathetic, point. Parasympathetic is erection. Sympathetic is ejaculation. So that's the mnemonic, right? P with P and S with S. But why? Why does the parasympathetic point? Because parasympathetic vasodilates almost all of your vessels. Oh, when you vasodilate, you will dilate the artery going into the penis. So there is lots of blood gushing into the penis. Hashtag erection. Sympathetic, on the other hand, causes vasoconstriction. And of course, with vasoconstriction, there will be shrinking. Okay, why does the parasympathetic vasodilates everything? Because it's called secreto-motor. Where do you think I get my secretions from? From the blood. Where do you get your saliva from? From your blood. Where do you get your urine from? From your blood. Where do you get your precious crocodile tears from? From the blood. That's why you need to dilate the vessel in order to secrete. And since parasympathetic dilates everything, it dilates the vessels going to your pee-pee and to your clitoris. Or clitoris. Urinary bladder stuff. If you are sympathetic, you're running from a tiger. Do you think you should be peeing now? Shut up. I do not want to urinate. Okay, I'm running from my life. So, relax the wall, contract the sphincter. How do I relax the wall? You need a beta, probably beta 2. How do I contract or constrict the sphincters? You need an alpha 1. If you are parasympathetic, on the other hand, you're literally sitting on a toilet. You need to urinate and defecate. So contract the wall, but relax the sphincter. If you're running from a tiger, you need to be catabolic. You need to break down glycogen into glucose, burn the glucose, and get you some energy. But if you're anabolic and eating a sandwich, you're actually building up energy. Sympathetic, I'm running from a tiger. Break down my glycogen into glucose. Break down my triglycerides or lipids into free fatty acids. Dilate my bronchi so that I can breathe. Get more air in so that I run from a tiger. Increase all of my cardiac properties. All of this is catabolic. Parasympathetic, rest and digest. Anabolic, the arrow is going to the opposite way. Now we would like to build up glucose into glycogen. Build up free fatty acid into lipid, and then constrict my bronchi and increase bronchial secretion and decrease my cardiac properties because I'm resting right now. Your parasympathetic with a P will preserve energy with a P. This is the most important table in the entire stinking video. Sympathetic head and neck, elevation of my upper eyelid, dilation of my pupil called mydriasis, exophthalmos, which is protrusion of the eyeball. Parasympathetic is the opposite. I'm reading a book. Oh, reading a book? The light rays are coming and they are dispersed like this. What would you like to do? I'd like to actually contract my lens and accommodate so that the lens can point all of these rays back onto one point in my retina called the fovea centralis. What would you do to your pupil? I'll constrict my pupil. Why? Because while reading a book, when the light falls on the letters of the book and then reflects into it's so bright, I need to actually constrict my pupil. Okay, sweat gland. Sympathetic secretes lots of sweat because you're running from a tiger. And here's an example of sympathetic cholinergic fibers. Yes, they are sympathetic, but they secrete acetylcholine and not Nor-Epinephrine. Because acetylcholine is the hero of secretion. If you want to secrete anything, acetylcholine is better for you than Nor-Epinephrine. On the heart, sympathetic will increase all your cardiac properties. Parasympathetic will decrease all your cardiac properties. Sympathetic on the heart was beta 1. Why is this? Because when it comes to the beta, the most important ones are in the heart. We actually call them beta 1. And in the bronchi, who cares? Beta 2, lipolysis, beta 3. But when it came to the parasympathetic, we found that actually we have some muscarinic receptors in the brain. Give the brain M1, give the heart M2, give everything else M3. Next, sympathetic on the blood vessels, vasoconstriction. Why? Okay, do you want to bleed while running from a tiger? No, then I will vasoconstrict the vessels in your skin. Do you want your GI tract to work while running from a tiger? Heck no, constrict all of the vessels. I'll only dilate vessels in your heart and skeletal muscles because you're running from a tiger. Parasympathetic will dilate almost everything. Why? Because it's secretomotor. I get all of my secretions from the blood. That's why you need to dilate my blood vessel. Next, sympathetic on my lung. Increase bronchial dilation, decrease bronchial secretions. This is beta 2, so that I can actually breathe in while running from a tiger. Parasympathetic is the opposite, bronchoconstriction and increase bronchial secretion. And that's why if I have asthma, which is bronchoconstriction with hypersecretion, you better give me a drug that is pro-sympathetic but anti-parasympathetic. Give me like a beta 2 agonist or a muscarinic antagonist. Next, sympathetic on your GI tract. Relax the wall, contract the sphincter. On your bladder, relax the wall, contract the sphincter. You relax with beta 2, you contract with alpha 1. Parasympathetic is the opposite. Contract the wall, but relax the sphincters. Genitalia, sympathetic, shoot and shrink. Here is the S. Parasympathetic with a P will point, which is erection of penis or clitoris. Metabolism action. Sympathetic, catabolic. Parasympathetic is anabolic. Sympathetic, glycogenolysis. Parasympathetic, glycogen synthesis. Sympathetic, lipolysis. Parasympathetic, lipogenesis. The sympathetic response, we have talked about it before. The parasympathetic response was discussed previously in my playlist called Physiology. Preganglionic fibers are cholinergic. What does that mean? They secrete acetylcholine. Okay. Postganglionic, however, it depends. If you're parasympathetic, you'll secrete acetylcholine onto muscarinic receptors, but if you are sympathetic, you'll secrete Nor-Epinephrine onto alpha and beta adrenergic receptors, not cholinergic, adrenergic. There is a tiny exception here. If you are postganglionic sympathetic, going to sweat glands, you'll actually borrow the acetylcholine, secrete acetylcholine into muscarinic receptors. And now on to the best part of the video. Why are the preganglionic parasympathetic fibers very long, postganglionic short, while the preganglionic sympathetic fibers are very short and their postganglionic are long? See this, preganglionic in the sympathetic, very short, it's unbelievable. Then the ganglion, then the postganglionic is very long. Parasympathetic, however, look at the preganglionic, very long, and then the ganglion, and then the postganglionic is very short. Why is this? First of all, let me remind you that all of your preganglionic fibers are type B fibers. These are myelinated fibers. However, the postganglionic fibers are C fibers. These are thin and unmyelinated and ugly. Why not just make all of your fibers myelinated? Because myelin is expensive in a world of scarce resources which have alternative uses. So the ideal is the parasympathetic. Why? Because it has maximized the preganglionic, which is myelinated, and has minimized the length of the postganglionic, which is unmyelinated. Oh, so thank you. I get the parasympathetic. I would like to prolong the preganglionic because it's myelinated and shorten the postganglionic as much as I can because it's unmyelinated. Perfect. And now the question is, why didn't sympathetic do the same thing? Why couldn't the sympathetic prolong its preganglionic and then shorten its postganglionic? Well, the sympathetic has tried, but failed miserably. It simply could not do it. Why not? To explain this, let me just tell you, your ganglia does not exist. What do you mean? Your ganglion, it's an imaginary structure. Like, there is no sphere, there is no ball. Like here? No, there is no such thing as a sphere here. What? Let's go back to square one. What was the definition of a ganglion? A ganglion is a collection of somas, cell bodies, outside the central nervous system. Oh, so it's just a bunch of neurons that are butting their heads against each other, and this kind of a structure that looks like a sphere, we call this a ganglion. But the ganglion is not a separate thing. It's your somas of your neurons just coming in close proximity to each other's in the peripheral nervous system. And now, with that in mind, look at your parasympathetic. Parasympathetic preganglionic fibers are what? Cholinergic. They secrete acetylcholine. Perfect. And then their ganglia are here, inside the wall of the targeted organ. Perfect, I get this. Postganglionic fibers are so short. You know why? Because they secrete also acetylcholine. So you have preganglionic secreting acetylcholine here, and you have postganglionic secreting acetylcholine here. Acetylcholine plus acetylcholine, this is called potentiation. You get too much acetylcholine, secretomotor actually performing our function. Oh, this potentiation, this addition is actually preferable. I want to secrete acetylcholine. Why not take advantage of preganglionic secreted acetylcholine and postganglionic secreting acetylcholine in the same location, boosting parasympathetic function? This is wonderful. Now look what will happen if the sympathetic try to do the same thing. Imagine that this is sympathetic. Its preganglionic secrete what? Acetylcholine. Okay. Its postganglionic secrete what? They secrete Nor-Epinephrine, and these two people hate each other. This is pro-parasympathetic. This is pro-sympathetic. This would like to contract your wall. This would like to relax your wall. So putting them in close proximity with each other is stupid on steroid. Simply, the sympathetic could not do it. And that's why sympathetic preganglionic had to be like this, and then your ganglion, because we have acetylcholine here. But the postganglionic fibers will secrete norepinephrine. Norepinephrine and acetylcholine do not mix well with each other, and that's why you need to separate them away from each other. Because the ganglion is like this. Preganglionic fibers, postganglionic fibers, they are very, very close to each other in case of parasympathetic. You get acetylcholine and acetylcholine, that's a good thing. But in case of sympathetic, if they came in close proximity like this, which means long preganglionic, short postganglionic, this will happen. You have acetylcholine here, you have norepinephrine here, they antagonize each other. This gives you 1 + 1 = 0, which is a mathematical insanity, but a pharmacological reality. This is called antagonism. But in case of parasympathetic, it's 1 + 1 = 3. This is called synergism. Again, a mathematical insanity, but a physiological reality. And now for the first time in history, you understand why preganglionic sympathetic are short, postganglionic are long. Yeah, because preganglionic secrete acetylcholine, postganglionic secrete norepinephrine. These two guys hate each other. Don't put them close to each other. Perfect. But parasympathetic does not have that problem. Preganglionic fibers secrete acetylcholine, postganglionic fibers secrete acetylcholine. It actually makes sense to put them in close proximity. You get synergism here, and you get prolongation of the preganglionic myelinated fiber for maximum speed of nerve transmission. And now you will never ever forget that preganglionic sympathetic is short, but postganglionic sympathetic is long. In parasympathetic, however, preganglionics are long, postganglionics are short. And that's why your short ciliary nerve is a postganglionic fiber. Postganglionic and short, it has to be parasympathetic. However, the long ciliary nerve, that's a postganglionic fiber, and long, it has to be sympathetic fiber. There are many anatomy professors who still confuses these two together. But now, since you understand the concept, I can wake you up from a coma and you will still get it right. That's a difference. And as Dr. Thomas Sowell said, it doesn't matter how smart you are until you stop and think. This lovely explanation was thanks to my great Egyptian professor. I've never met him in person, he doesn't know that I exist, but thanks to the internet, I can actually learn. Moreover, my dad is a pathology professor, and when you get physiology and pathology figured out, it's not a shock that you become very good at medicine. When your preganglionic is short, this is sympathetic. When your preganglionic is long, this is parasympathetic. When your postganglionic is long, this is sympathetic. When your postganglionic is short, this is parasympathetic. If you'd like to learn more about autonomic pharmacology, check out my website at medicosisperfectionalis.com. It will equip you with robust pharmacology knowledge so that you can master it, so that you can help patients. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe, hit the bell, and click on the join button. You can support me here or here. Go to my website to download my pharmacology courses today. Thank you so much for watching. As always, be safe, stay happy, and study hard. This is Medicosis Perfectionalis, where medicine makes perfect sense.